Well, hello, people. This is Chris, aka Sonic92, and welcome back to another episode of Random Creepypasta Stories. So today in Random Creepypasta Stories, for the third one this week, we're going to be taking a look at another creepypasta called Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, really creative title we got here. So, without further ado, let's begin this creepypasta, which I could probably already tell is going to suck. So, let's begin. As a child, I really loved playing Sonic the Hedgehog games on my Sega Mega Drive. Sadly, when nostalgia hit me one evening, I found out our console broke when we moved house, meaning my mom threw out all the old games. And yes, this guy literally wrote mum. So I decided to search on eBay for a pre-owned Mega Drive. I stumbled across one at the rather cheap price of £6, including delivery. Oh, so this guy's European, that's why he wrote mum. The description claimed it also came with Sonic 1, yet on closer inspection, the cartridge paper seemed to have been torn off, with a label crudely placed in front, with it written in a scrawled script. I thought nothing of it and decided to bid on it. Weirdly, despite it having a day to go, I immediately won the item. I proceeded the payment, left my feedback, and arrived within 3 days. The Mega Drive was surprisingly good condition for the price, almost brand new sans smudged fingerprints. I blew into the labeled cartridge, old habits die hard you see, and inserted it into the cartridge. The TV screen flickered on. The familiar image of the Sega logo faded left to right, but instead of the joyous chorus, there was a cacophonic blast of static which lasted far longer than it should have had. But this was where things got weirder. The title screen was polluted, black sludge pouring into the sea with dark skies and lightning. The music was slower in a dissonant minor key, and when Sonic popped out of the marquee, he looked genuinely terrified and afraid. I thought this must have been some sort of hack, until I hit start. I saw Robotnik, in graphics far more realistic than possible for the time, holding a lifelike rabbit by the ears. He looked full of malice and hatred, his pince-nez glasses glinting as he revealed in his other hand a machete. He held it up to the defenseless animal's throat and slit it, blood pouring out like a fountain. Holy crap. Robotnik began to laugh, but it was almost like he was in a room with me. It was so realistic. The game then went to Green Hill Zone, where the music was replaced with a low buzzing drone. The background looked just like it did on the title screen, and again Sonic looked visibly shaken. His skin was paler, and he appeared to shake with fear. On running, he began to cry. Nevertheless, I decided to play it through as normal, just to see if this was some sort of cruel joke. I ended up losing rings against the Buzz Bomber. The noise on losing my rings was a harsh ringing, and I heard Robotnik chortle once more, his face flashing in the stormy background. Sonic hit the floor. I was unable to control him at this point, as the Buzz Bomber began to descend on Sonic's helpless body. The Buzz Bomber literally stabbed Sonic, and all I could hear was the tortured screams. I could take my eyes off the crudely animated sprites of Sonic writhing in pain as the Buzz Bomber rammed into him. This went on for a good 30 seconds before the Buzz Bomber flew off, leaving a bloody Sonic corpse behind. The screams subsided as the screen faded to black. I heard incredibly deep murmurings in some sort of weird language, maybe Japanese or Korean. Again, the hyper-realistic Dr. Robotnik faded into the view again, but this time he was holding an even more realistic Sonic by the head. Sonic was crying, begging for mercy, sheer terror in his cries, but this time Robotnik didn't have a knife. He literally broke Sonic's neck, the sound reverberating, and I was treated to the sight of Robotnik kicking the defenseless corpse of Sonic the Hedgehog around. Blood flying everywhere, Sonic's spines breaking off, while all the time the distorted sounds of Robotnik's laughter and Sonic's screaming played. A message appeared in Japanese with a selection yes or no. I chose yes, somehow driven to continue. I appeared back in Green Hill Zone, but this time there were graves where the totem poles were. Sonic was even more afraid, looking directly at the screen, as if begging me not to continue, but I felt I had to. I continued through the game, of which its layout hadn't changed at all. The iconic loop-de-loop was there. The tunnel Sonic spanned down. Everything was the same, but decaying of full of pollution. I reached the end of the level, however, and it was iconic boss level, you know, with the wrecking ball. Only when Robotnik appeared, there was a blast of loud, cacophonous synth sound. Robotnik's face was contorted with sheer disgust for the Hedgehog, and before I even had a chance to attack, Robotnik's wrecking ball slammed into Sonic and crushed him against the side of the screen. Once more, the screams played, but the screen began to glitch horrifying and turn gray, almost into television static. Before I had a chance to hit the power button to take out the cartridge, I heard very clearly in a deep voice, "This was your fault, and your fault alone." I looked at the television, and the hyper-realistic Robotnik's face from before occupied the entire screen. The words "a game over" flashed over his face, and I saw Sonic's hyper-realistic carcass fall and land on top of the letters, sliding off and hitting the floor. All you could hear was Sonic's whimpering and crying and asking, "Why did you do this? Why?" I promptly ripped out the game out of the console and threw both straight into the garbage. To this day, I had never seen that eBay seller online again. The computer returned 404s on searching in the history, and anyone I asked on eBay forums claimed the user had never existed in the first place. Oh my gosh, we're finally done with the story. Might have not sounded bad, but if you're a person who reads a lot of creepypastas like me, this is pretty bad. So where do I begin? The beginning. Of course, the longtime Sonic fan loses the game because of some stupid reason, goes on eBay, finds the game for a cheap price, plays it, really bad crap starts happening. Biggest cliche a person could do in a creepypasta story is that right there. Be an old Sonic fan, say that you played his games for like all your childhood, then lose it for some stupid reason, and then buy it on eBay from some unknown seller who apparently isn't even on eBay in the end. And then there we had the game. When hasn't there been a like dark background on the title screen with Sonic crying and crap like that? Yeah, let's see. There was Sonic.exe, there was Lost Sonic, there was a bunch of other creepypastas that had that. So that was completely unoriginal right there, right off the bat. Just the title screen was really cliche. Then we had the gameplay. Of course, Sonic running through Green Hill Zone, crying. Some enemies start stabbing Sonic. Yeah, we've all heard that before. And then we have basically the hyper-realistic crap. What does that even mean? Is hyper-realistic just supposed to be some kind of like way to describe something looking extremely realistic for the time? Because right now that word just sounds like something stupid. Like if you could just imagine someone saying hyper-realistic in a sentence, you would think they're crazy. But just this creepypasta is bad, but it's not the worst I've ever read in my life. No, I would say the worst creepypasta I read, I can't really say right now because I kind of forgot the title, but I just know it was bad. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this creepypasta, Sonic the Hedgehog. And plus the title, really? Sonic the Hedgehog. Couldn't have thought about like Sonic the Bloodhog or whatever. Just had to go with the name of about 5 games that, oh my gosh, you know what, I'm just gonna give up on this right now. There's just too much to despise. But yeah, this is my thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog creepypasta. If you like what you see here, like, comment, subscribe, and if you could change the whole entire story, which I will gladly appreciate, write how you would change the entire story in the comments below, because I would love to hear what you guys have to think how to change this horrible pasta. So peoples, I will see you next episode, and peace out peoples, and bye-bye.